Hello Pisces friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Pisces January 2021 Astrology Must Knows. Happy New Year! Welcome to this new crazy, wild month of a year that's going to get us started out in a really epic way. We've got wide open stars this month, basically all the planets moving forward. This is very rare, so there's going to be a lot of forward movement, epic changes from crazy connections in the stars, and the speed is going to be very fast, especially for the first half of the month. If you have to do important things, this is an amazing time to do it. But there is a caution, and you will hear me mention this several times throughout the video, major must know. Although in some ways the stars could not be more wonderful for doing your important things, taking your important actions, if the action you're taking has any zealotry involved in it, if there's excess, if there's extravagance, if there's a surge within you, a wild just force that's making you do something crazy and irreversible, then take some caution, okay? Because there are things going on this month that might make it more likely for you to overdo, overpromise, overcommit, and might make it more likely for you to try to cut a cord, force an ending, step away from something irreversibly that you might want to have taken more care. Okay, so we're going to talk about this more throughout the video, but I just want to tell you right here, as I'm telling you there are wide open stars, I got to give you that little disclaimer. You're going to see more eclipse news and events coming in, and this is because Venus is now going to cross over the ecliptic point where that December eclipse was. That's going to bring a continuation of eclipse news, and there's going to be more epic life-changing things going on from these other aspects, including this very noteworthy Jupiter and Uranus square. Okay, this aspect is only going to happen once this month, and I will go into lots more details about this towards the end of the video, and it is a big one. You will want to listen to that. Putting out the caution for you to take extra care all month, because even though this is a month full of miracle potential and momentum like we haven't seen in a long time, there are clashes between Jupiter and Mars and Saturn and Uranus that are not they're clashes. So, aggression, weather and climate and earth events, turbulence, change, radical change wanting to come, and in some cases resistance to that change or too much change too fast. This kind of energy is going to be really predominant this month, okay? So, but within all of that, there is definitely the chance to break free from shackles that have been binding you on all different levels. And if you can heed the cautions that I'll give throughout the rest of the video, then, and direct those zealotrous efforts into inner change, inner workings, healing, patterns, and getting in touch with your body and all of these things, then, it can really be very monumental as far as, looking back at this point and saying, wow, like my life before this time and my life after this time, or your life before this time, your life after this time, there may be a very, very notable shift here. And a lot of that could be for the better. So now I want to talk about some things specific to Pisces before we go back into this really, really major Jupiter and Uranus square. For Pisces this month, there are so many planets moving in nice aspects for you. So that's very exciting news. In December, there was a lot of fire, and those fire aspects don't work really well for Pisces placement. So the first must know for Pisces specifically is you're going to get a break from that, okay? Because the sun moving through Capricorn, nice angle for you. You've got Mars is going to go into Taurus. That's a nice angle for you. Mercury is also moving through Capricorn. That's a nice angle for you. Venus is going to get into Capricorn. That's going to be a nice angle for you. Okay, so a lot of the angles that are being presented for Pisces, this is another must know for you, is that 60-degree angle. 60-degree angles are the ingredients on the counter angle, which means that things might present to you like having ingredients for a recipe on a counter. If you don't make the recipe, the stuff will stay there and rot. Okay, So there are certain angles that we have, and we'll have a couple of those this month as well, where it can just bring blessings and help you crack open and, reveal hidden gems. But there is a lot of energy around this 60-degree angle specifically for Pisces, which means that you have to take action on the things that come to you, with, of course, the warning about, not overcommitting, not overpromising, not being overzealous, and trying to maintain. Like, a major must-know for this month is that if you're going to do something radical, depending on what it is, it might make sense for you to try to hold on to the other thing while you make the radical change. Okay, so for instance, let's say you're starting a new job or you're launching a business. If you have something that's bringing you some income that you can hold on to while you take the new direction, that might be a good choice for some of you, okay? And you'll have to discern your way through this. Your circumstance might just be, you can't do this, it's not relevant. But if it is, a lot of you are going to see the wisdom in this very key point of holding on to certain things that you're feeling ready to let go of, but you might need as a little crutch a little longer while you build up the new, because there is a tremendous amount of volatility in the stars this month. There's a tremendous amount of volatility in the stars coming up, and things that seem sure and things you feel like you're ready for could come too soon, too fast. So for instance, if you can buy a new house, but if you're not sure about moving, if you can kind of keep your foot in in the old place and step your foot into the new place, it's like having something to fall back on, okay? If it's possible. Now, another must know for Pisces is that as Mars is moving into Taurus, it's still in your second house of finances, and hopefully some of the zest, some of the fervor, some of the impetus that you've had to improve your financial situation will start to manifest into material gains, okay? And that's a theme of this month that's super positive, that besides all the turbulence and craziness and weird things that may happen, and it could be a pretty weird time for the world, we're not done with those crazy changes that were going on in 2020. We're implementing more of those and moving forward, on a lot of those planes that we've already started to change. But there is a major focus this month of materializing. The earth planets are very, very, very prominent. And for you specifically in your money sector, this is relevant. Now, some of the clashes of the outer planets and the inner planets connecting with the outer planets are going to hit you in your financial house as well. Okay, so, things that happen could be the catalyst for your future security. Things could be tested. Things could manifest in big ways. And this doesn't just have to do with money. It has to do with your emotional self-sufficiency. It has to do with your, and the key word here is self-sufficiency. This is going to be a very big key for a long time. But also having to do even with sustainability projects, like becoming more eco-friendly, being more in touch with your imprint, things like that. So Neptune has been moving through your sign for a very long time, and will continue doing this for a very long time. But those of you who are like in the 18-degree range or close within a few degrees of 18 degrees, or if your birthday is like March 8th or the days around March 8th, the Neptune is particularly targeting you. I always recommend that you run a free birth chart online. Just find a place to do this and see the degrees of the placements. Okay, I know I'm pushing some of you here a little bit, and some of you might zone out and say, she says degree, I just want superficial information, I'm tuning out. But I'm hoping to coax some of you into really just getting deeper into this, because the more you understand the degrees, which you can see the degrees in the birth chart, they're the numbers next to the planets, the more you'll know when these things are hitting you directly, like this conversation I'm having here about Neptune. For those of you around the 8 degree or the 18 degree or March 8th, even, like March 6th through March 10th, you're really and if you have any other planets there, that's why I'm trying to tell you, you might have Mercury in Pisces, you might have something else in Pisces, and Neptune could be sitting on this placement for you, and it could be dissolving away. That's what Neptune does, is it dissolves things away. It makes you feel like your feet are on the beach in the sand and the water's coming and you're sinking in the sand, okay? So this has been a theme that has been going on for every Pisces, but it's like, those of you in that, March 8th, days around there, this is extra for you right now. Or if you have a planet near 18 degrees of Pisces, okay? So there's a lot of energy in the first house in a long-term way for Pisces. And this, again, has to do with like finding your footing. Some of this might have to do with going back to like rebirthing yourself. If you had a traumatic birth, if you had a traumatic childhood, healing trauma. This could have to do with getting your definition of self-esteem more aligned with things that are not changeable. Okay, so something that we know about this world is that it's changing all the time. And even if certain things are true for 30 years, one day they can just be not true anymore. And change is inevitable. And change this year and in this month is really happening. So if you have your footing in something that's changeable, like pretty much anything in the material world, then you're always going to feel like you don't have a footing. But if you get your footing in your connection with yourself, your intuition, your connection with spirit, whoever you pray to, this is the main story globally, but there's special extra emphasis on this for Pisces. That's a must know. If you are sick of getting your heart broken by the changeable things in your life, people's moods, people's temperament, anything like that, it's a cue that it's really time to start putting your footing in something solid, like a spiritual connection and your connection with yourself and your body and your intuition and your gut, okay? All right, so there is some continued karma that's working out in the Pisces work realm, and this is because of the transiting South Node in that placement. You do have a boost there in your work sector this month because Venus is in your 10th house. And because of all the planets moving through Capricorn, the personal planets, the Sun, Mercury, and then Venus will get there. This is very centered around work and your employment. Now, for those of you who are not in the workforce, don't want to be in the workforce, this can have to do with your place out in the world. So like your volunteer efforts, your book that you always wanted to write, your way that you feel like you're showing up in the world. All of these things that I talk about with Capricorn can have to do with that for you. And even for those of you who do have a job and work and employment, those things can also be relevant for you. Okay, so let's see what else I wanted to talk about for Pisces. All right, so the eclipses were in difficult angle for you, so you might have had quite a bit of shock and awe over the last few months about the changes that have been occurring. You may have had to say goodbye to things that you might not have felt ready to say goodbye to. Anything that you can do to heal this trauma of recent events and trauma from your past is going to serve you very, very well. I always recommend everybody, but again, especially Pisces, this month, and of course Pisces rules the feet, so putting your bare feet in the earth, even if you have to get some soil from the Home Depot or whatever, and put them in a bucket and put your feet in it if it's too cold outside. There's something about that earth feeling that is really critical for you, and doing something like that this month is going to really help you. And of course, a meditation routine, starting that now could be very helpful. Another really positive plus must know is that your powers of focus and concentration are going to be supercharged this month. So if you have to do something important like your taxes or, some kind of other important thing that's tedious, you're going to have a lot of energy around that this month too. Okay, so let's get down into the nitty-gritty of understanding this Jupiter square Uranus aspect. Unlike the upcoming in February Saturn square Uranus aspect, we're only going to have one of these Jupiter Uranus aspects this year. The Saturn one will have 3 times, and we'll talk about that more next month. That's going to be a very big deal too. But it's important to understand, like, there are must-knows about this transit because it is a biggie. Whenever the outer planets come in close connection, or exact connection in this case, it definitely brings notable things globally down to the individual level, okay? So the first must-know here is that you will feel very anxious, okay? The energy of Uranus really rules like the nervous system in some ways. So it's like when there's an aspect with Uranus, we often feel like our fingers stuck in an electric socket. And so the anxiety levels run super high, and those are going to have to be managed. So you just need to know that going into this month, even though we've already had, a long series of that going on, this month is going to be like that as well, okay? The second thing is that even though, as I mentioned earlier, since all the planets are moving forward, it is a good time to move forward and to make decisions and to do important things, especially in the first half of January before Mercury starts to slide into its retrograde process. But there's a caution here with the Jupiter square Uranus because people can feel really, really, really compelled to do crazy things. And some of those, if there's like a calculated risk involved, could turn out really well, but there could be an interference with the discernment process of figuring out what those things are. So like extravagance, erratic behavior, because Jupiter rules excess. So like big purchases, big commitments, big, trying to cut something off or big decisions about like kind of making a clean slate, a clean cut, and then moving forward, like trying to cut ties completely. There is some caution with that. So even though the stars are moving forward and it is good to make these big decisions in some ways, if you can leave your lifeline intact, if you can leave an option, for holding on to some of the old stuff until you can see how the new stuff shakes out, because you might wish you had some of that stuff to go back to, that's a very, very major must know for this aspect. If you've got that option to like wait a little bit until the tensions aren't as high, wait a little bit to see if you can find a bridge option that includes both of the things that might be in question. It's just can be a little bit sketchy making a clean cut at this time with this aspect. People are also very receptive to other people's intentions. So whether it's on your personal level with somebody close to you, or whether it's in a level of like a leader or a religious leader or a political leader trying to exert or say things, people are going to be very open to suggestion at this time with this aspect. And actually, there are known cult leaders that have had this aspect in their natal charts, like the capacity to woo somebody over into something that seems so exciting, like it's going to solve all the problems. Just be very wary of anyone or anything that says, now all your problems are going to be gone if you do this thing, unless it's something that's low stakes, low commitment, has protections in order, isn't like one of those big clean cut where you're just like completely separating. If it's something that seems reasonable, and maybe you might not even know if it's reasonable, that's the difficulty. I would say have like people that you trust to cross-reference before you do anything crazy with this aspect, okay? So see what else I wanted to tell you about this. So the energy of rebellion is going to be very strong because of the planet Uranus ruling Aquarius, and now Jupiter's in Aquarius and Saturn's in Aquarius, and then we've got these aspects with Uranus which rules Aquarius, so it's like the energy of like being a rebel, breaking free is going to be very strong, and you will be able. That's one of the very plus sides of this aspect, even though it is a challenging aspect, we could call it, it's a point of tension. You can break free of things that were shackling you. But the more you direct the breaking of the shackles to things like clearing up addictions, clearing up debt, clearing up, overspending, like clearing up bad habits, the more you can be more sure that it's going to be a good thing what you think that you are breaking free from, okay? Because breaking free for the sake of itself might seem very alluring at this time, and people could make some rash decisions that they later regret. So a lot of caution and care has to be given. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, so there, along with this can also come like impatience, because you're wanting to make it happen, and towards the middle of the month and things might start slowing down again, or here I'm telling you, like, take a little caution when you move forward. So there could be some of this like frustration with not feeling clear about something. But if you don't feel super clear about something, then definitely I would suggest waiting it out a little longer. The energies will be much more clear in March and April for trying to make some big decisions again, in the event that you're not completely clear at this time. Some other things about Jupiter squaring Uranus are, first of all, that it may coincide with major trajectory changes. And this is an interesting topic now because we've just come out of eclipse season, and we're still kind of getting some leftover things from the November, December eclipses, which definitely are trajectory changing and can really set people on a completely different course. And this aspect does the same thing. So it's very kind of eclipse reminder like in that way, where it's, you could see something come, and if it's coming out of your control and you can't do anything about it, then your choice is to clear up the resistance and accept it, or look for possible solutions or ways around it. And if those can't be found, then, to try to regain your peace on the topic. But it does often coincide with very dramatic life changes, and also changes in fortune. So people may make a bunch of money and all of a sudden be rich. People may lose a bunch of money and all of a sudden, have a reversal of their financial situation. So those types of things can happen. An analogy that I've been thinking of for this aspect has to do with those stories we hear about certain people who have become famous too fast, or become famous too young, or become successful too young or too fast, or just too plain successful and famous, right? Sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is true for all people who are successful or famous, obviously, but there are many people we've heard of that have just not been able to handle that level of change and that extreme change, or that extreme experience, and it has burnt them up. And this energy is very much like that. So many people might be thrown into the spotlight, thrown into fame, thrown into fortune, or thrown into not fortune, just like a big change. But a lot of it can be very positive, like, you get your dream that you worked for, but you need some help and support managing the openness that comes with it. Sometimes this aspect can bring too much freedom and too many options, and the confusion that comes from those things, So definitely, if you're in a position like this where something like this occurs, remember what I said, so that you can seek out support to help you stay grounded and help you stay centered and help you make good choices during the major changes, because zealotry is another word that I'm using to describe what this energy can bring. And even though the aspect is happening on the 17th of January, this is a big one. So we're feeling this, even a month or more before it's starting to build, and we'll feel it after it'll flow after. It's like, it's a big one. We're not going to feel it just on the day and the week of this. This is a trend that's kind of building in our subconscious. It's making itself more external the closer we get to the middle of January, and then it's present all through January. Really, this is strong, and then it will start to fade out, into February and into the beginning of March. Then that cycle will be complete with this particular aspect, but it is much more longer lived, and it can create very permanent effects as well, depending on the decisions made. So just be excited if your life is expanding in wonderful ways, but just keep your center and be very cautious with the decisions that you make, understanding all of these pieces now. Okay, so I know I've given you a lot to digest here. If you would like to have even more information on how you can understand and utilize the energies at play from the planetary perspective, then go to anniehelpsyou.com. There you'll see lots of blogs that I've written on astrology and other topics, but there you can also sign up for my free email newsletter. And with that, you will get delivered into your inbox 1 month early my written report of the sweet and salty aspects and their dates and what you can expect from them, as well as my general write-up of the month in a written version so that you can go back over it and digest it. So it's not a transcript of these videos, but it is a summary and some more details about the general energies at play. Okay, so you can get that at anniehelpsyou.com, and you'll also receive my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free as a member of my email community. Okay, so all that's at anniehelpsyou.com. Then you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com, and you'll see my written horoscopes up 1 month early, as well as book recommendations for each sign for each month, depending on the sun, where the sun is for each sign, plus healthy lifestyle and spiritual lifestyle blogs on there. It's a beautiful site. You will love it. So you can check that out, cozybysweetstarlight.com. Definitely also go to my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. I've got free courses there on health and wellness, also on increasing your abundance. You can see those free courses, and you can see my paid course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I put a lot into the free resources that I give you every month, you should see what I do for the paid resources. It is quite crazy comprehensive, and it will equip you to do whatever you'd like to do in astrology, whether it's just for your own self-development and helping your family and friends, or if you'd like to include it in part of a professional offering, or just do astrology as your work. I will teach you what you need to know to do that. So you can see all of that there. And very exciting, it's definitely time to get my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. It's out officially on December 8th of 2020. You can pre-order it before then, and you can find it on Audible. It's on Kindle. It's in a print version. It's on Barnes & Noble Nook. It's a beautiful hardcover reference book that you'll go back to time and time again. All of the Books A Million stores and all of the Barnes & Noble stores in the entire US has ordered copies of this book. So you should be able to walk in and get it unless somebody's bought them already. But you can also order them on Amazon and at independent booksellers, many independent booksellers worldwide, and also some big booksellers worldwide have also stocked this book. So you can find it pretty much anywhere. So you can see that, more of that, by just searching for Planetology and my name. And I hope you have a wonderful month. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next month. Bye.